Alright, I'm making this video just as like a quick update to Sion. So this past week, Riot has been releasing a couple teasers that has been pretty much implying and proving that Sion's rework is indeed here. Well, not exactly here at this moment, but on the horizon. Probably by the end of this month, he may be out, or he's definitely gonna be on the PvE, I think, by next week. So I'll have to update my PvE, and I'll try to bring up some gameplay of him. But as of right now, I mean, he just looks awesome. So they finally have his in-game model, which is right here. Is there a way? How do you zoom in? I don't know how to zoom in on this shit. Shit. Zoom in. Whatever. But yeah, I'll link the website. It's on the PvE right now. At surrender at 20. So they also have his abilities. Now there's no really raw. There isn't any raw values. So we don't know the range of any of his abilities or the ratios or if any of them are all AD. They did say that they want him to be an AD champion. And I'm looking at him right now. He's definitely going to be a top lane, without a doubt. And I'm wondering if he can actually jungle, because he has this one interesting ability that could help with ganks. He has CC, but in interesting ways. And I'm not too disappointed with him. Like, that's like the problem that I was nervous about his rework. Like, were they going to turn him into just kind of, I don't know, a generic top lane that has like a stun and maybe some longevity with team fights, or a bruiser, or is he going to be bursty? So I wasn't really sure, but I think they have a happy mix. They combine some of his old kit with a little bit of what they want him to be. They want to be some sort of unstoppable force, hence his name is now the Undead Juggernaut. So really, I don't know, let's just dive right in. I think his passive is the coolest thing about him. So his passive is literally his ultimate, like his ultimate right now. When Sion is killed, he reanimates himself, but this health rapidly decays while he is reanimated, and he can move and attack during this time. He gains 100% lifesteal, attacks extremely fast, and will deal an additional 10% of his target's maximum health on hit. This is capped against monsters at 75 bonus damage, and also all of his abilities are replaced with Death Surge, which pretty much gives him a movement speed buff. This is a really interesting ability in my opinion. I mean, there aren't too many champions in the game that can reanimate themselves to stay in the fight. Off the top of my head, I can think of Zillion, Yorick. I mean, Aatrox kind of, but Aatrox kind of just goes into a stasis mode and comes back. I mean, this guy literally just reanimates himself, and I'm not entirely sure if it's instantaneous. We're gonna find out, but this is his ultimate right now with his passive, and I think this is a good move. It's really, really cool. Death Surge, I don't know the cooldown for his movement speed buff. It would be insane if you can actually hit all 4 keys. So you hit the first one and that's on cooldown, hit the second one, that's on cooldown, hit the third one, that's on cooldown, and so on. So you can just constantly use Death Surge, and I mean, that's pretty cool. So overall, this seems like a pretty decent passive. I think it's gonna make him scary top lane, because in most cases, top lane, usually the trades will be very close. The enemy will just barely kill you and they'll have like a sliver of health. This passive will literally ensure that you get the kill as well. So, and because First Blood is only 350 gold, to my knowledge, I mean, it's not gonna be, they won't be that much ahead of you. So, passive, really cool. Decimating Smash. Sion charges a powerful swing in an area in front of himself and will deal damage to enemies when released. And if he charges this, the enemies hit by the swing will also be knocked up and stunned. So I'm guessing this is it's a charge ability, you know, similar to how what Vi has or Varus has, you know, you charge it up. I don't think it increases the range like it says, it just increases the amount of damage, the knock up, and the stun. This is an interesting ability, but I wonder, because he's charging, is it going to impede his movement speed? I think it's going to have to, just because, I mean, this ability just looks crazy. And we don't know what the AoE is or the AoE ratio, but this is an interesting ability. His Q right now is a stun, so this is still a stun, and it's a knock-up, which I think is crazy. So yeah, it's a little twist on what he has right now, and I think it's more interesting. That's the thing, they just want to make Sion more interesting, and I think this is going to be good. I mean, there's really not much to say about this. It's just a knock-up stun, charge it up, looks like it might do some damage. His W doesn't really seem to have changed at all. It's still the same shield, and you reactivate it, it deals magic damage to nearby enemies. I hope this is AD scaling though. If they want to be an AD champion, if they make this an AP shield, I will be very disappointed. But for the most part, this is still his ability to trade with. I think this was a good, like, I think everyone can agree his shield was probably one of the best things about him, because it was a big shield and it did hella damage. So I can imagine in lane you're gonna pop your shield, pop your Q, so you're gonna be winning almost all the trades. And this pretty much means that I think he's going to be using mana still, because I think it's kind of broken to have a knockup and a stun and a shield. So he's most likely going to be using mana, because there isn't anything in his abilities that uses a different resource, and I doubt he's going to be resourceless even though he's undead. So mana champion will most likely be ensured. E. Roar the Slayer. Sion fires a short-range shockwave that damages and slows the first enemy hit. If the shockwave hits a minion or monster, it will be knocked back, damaging and slowing all enemies it passes through. This is an interesting ability. I've never seen anything like this. It's sort of like Lee Sin's kick. So when you hit a minion, the minion's going to, go forward, and it hits anything in its path, sort of like Lee Sin, just like Lee Sin's kick when you hit an enemy champion. And it's going to knock them, it says they get knocked back and slowed. So this is what made me wonder, okay, could this guy jungle? Because essentially, a lot of laners will hide behind minions against people who have skill shots because, they have to go through the minions. Well, with Sion, you can literally just run up, hit the minions, and they get knocked back slow, and while you're doing is you're charging up your Q and just hit them up, stunning them again. Of course, this is still really good in lane. This actually sounds extremely strong in lane because there's minions everywhere, and it doesn't specify if your minions get hit as well. So if you can hit your minions and hit the people, that means he can also protect himself from ganks. So this is an interesting ability. I have no idea what this could, the specifics of this ability, but I can see the strengths. Really good in lane. I think it could possibly make him better at jungling. But I think he's definitely still going to be better top lane, but this is an interesting ability, and I can't wait to get my hands on it when the PvE launches him. And finally, his ultimate, Sion... Oh, Unstoppable Onslaught. I'm getting ahead of myself. Sion charges in a direction, ramping up speed over time. He can steer his charge slightly with the mouse cursor location. When he collides with an enemy, he deals damage and knocks him up based on the distance he has charged. This is a weird hybrid right now, so it's a skill shot. Yeah, I'm guessing he can't be stopped. Unstoppable Onslaught. I mean, it'd be pretty stupid if you can just stun him out of that or just put up a wall. So I'm hoping it's going to be unstoppable, hence the name. And you knock people up. It's like a weird combination of Malphite, Vi, and and any really, I don't know, kind of like in the distance algorithm or the distance like the distance calculation is kind of like with Ashe's stun with her arrow, where like the farther it travels does more stun, or Jinx's missile does more damage. So it's kind of like a weird hybrid between all those mechanics. And this is an interesting ability, and I think this is what's going to make Sion, like this ability right here in my opinion, is going to bring Sion back into the meta instantly. Any kind of champion that can initiate a fight with a long distance initiation is automatically, in my opinion, really strong. And not to mention, even if he hits them, they're going to get knocked up, which if he does it at the right time, he might be able to charge his Q while they're knocked up, knocking them up again and still slowing them. And at this point, his team's just going to collapse on them. So, yeah. I think this ability really just makes Sion that much stronger now. So, in conclusion, like in a nutshell, Sion's going to be a freaking beast. Like, he's going to, like, I think this skill set truly represents him being a juggernaut. And while it may not be the most interesting skill set, it's nothing, there aren't too many like obscure methods or abilities that you'd have to think about before using them. It's pretty straightforward. It's still really cool, and I think Sion's gonna be so much better than he is right now, and he's gonna be really fun. I'm actually dying to get my hands on him for the PvE. So yeah, I'm looking at this, he looks super scary just because his passive. I mean, he gets into the fight, causes so much damage on all this CC, and then it's like if he dies, he's gonna be even scarier because he's just gonna run at the ADC. But I think his death is still somewhat balanced because, as it says, his health is rapidly decaying. We don't know how much this is, but the fact that it's giving him 100% life speed, the fact it's giving him 100% lifesteal and more attack speed, which does it even say? He can move and attack at this time. They just say attacks extremely fast, so it might not be 100% attack speed, but it's going to be fast enough that in this form he's going to be reliant on auto attacks to keep himself alive. So that's for sure. So in this form it's balanced because he most likely has to keep auto attacking people to keep himself alive. But other than that, Sion looks freaking awesome. Like, so cool. because it's just like the manliest champion I could think of. You just get in the fight, CC everyone. Like the ADCs, this is like their worst nightmares for a champion like this, especially with an ability like the unstoppable onslaught. That just looks so scary. Build path, I'm pretty sure he's just going to be somewhat of a bruiser, maybe even a tank. I'm sure you can build him with pure AD and he'll just do tons of burst damage, but I don't know if it's worth it. The attack speed Sion that people build right now, I don't think you want to build him that way because the attack speed is gonna be gained through his passive, and it looks like he's just gonna be using his abilities for most of his damage, because I think they're gonna have pretty decent ratios on them that his auto attacks will be able to do enough damage with combination of his new AD abilities. So I think maybe build paths like with Renekton, or I don't know, like getting maybe a Black Cleaver, or I don't think you want to get too much lifesteal on him is what I'm trying to say. I think more damage and bruiser items and penetration. You know, maybe nerf froze him out if you want to slow the enemy, but I don't think you're going to need it. So, Spirit Visage, maybe. So, I don't know, it's going to be interesting. I have to see the ratios to really come up with this, but I think Sion just looks awesome. So, oh, before I end this video, let's look at his new, here are his new skins. Hextech Sion, I have this one. This actually looks really cool. The hammer kind of looks meh still, I don't know. But I like the arm. Wait, this is Barbarian Sion, what the fuck? His face kind of looks weird, but I still like the overall design. The axe, very Nordic, I like it. Here's Lumberjack Sion. This one, oh my god, he's a freaking like log bro leg, so yeah. And this one I'm probably going to be using because I already have Warmonger Sion. He kind of reminds me of Thanos from the Marvel series, but I digress. Other than that, that is Sion. That's new Sion. He's finally going to be here. I'm hoping he's going to be released by Friday on the PvE so I can get my hands on him. I'm going to get gameplay out. But other than that, I mean, he just looks awesome. He just looks freaking awesome. He sounds like so much fun. So, I want you guys to tell me what you think of the new Sion. His abilities are clearly stated right here, but we still don't know what the ratios are, and that's fine. We're going to get that eventually, but as of right now, first impressions, I think Sion's going to be so strong. He's going to be launched back into the meta. I don't know if he's OP because we need to know all these cooldowns, all the AD ratios, all the specifics. But as of right now, I think his overall kit is strong. It is good. It's good for a CC tank and a Juggernaut. It clearly represents what his lore is making him out to be. So, with that, I'm going to end this video. I hope you enjoyed. I hope you are excited as much as I am. But other than that, I will catch you guys later. See you in the next video.